Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you could save your life, or the life of someone you love. We've been told our whole lives that the kitchen is the heart of the home, a place of comfort, tradition, and nourishment. But for those of us who have seen a few more seasons, the stakes are higher. Our bodies don't bounce back like they used to. Did you know that right now, sitting in your pantry or your crisper drawer, there are common, everyday foods that are, quite literally, poison? I'm not talking about unhealthy food or junk food. I'm talking about toxins, nerve agents, and compounds that cause paralysis, organ failure, and sudden death. We're going to pull back the curtain on 7 foods that can kill you. Some of these you've probably eaten this week. One of them is likely in your spice rack right now. This isn't about scaring you. It's about giving you the authority over your own health. We've worked too hard to get to this stage of life to be taken out by a potato or a piece of fruit. Stay with me, because we are diving deep into the science of survival. 1. The green, deadly potato. A nerve toxin in disguise. You see a potato with a little green on the skin and you think, I'll just peel that off. Or, it's just not ripe yet. Stop right there. That green isn't just chlorophyll. It's a flashing red light from Mother Nature. When potatoes are exposed to light, they produce a chemical called solanine. This isn't just a stomachache waiting to happen. It is a potent neurotoxin, a natural pesticide designed by the plant to kill anything that tries to eat it. For a senior whose neurological system is already precious, this is a gamble you cannot afford to take. Solanine is incredibly stable, meaning boiling or frying doesn't always kill the poison. If you ingest enough of it, it begins to attack your nervous system. We're talking about nausea and vomiting that quickly escalates to internal bleeding, paralysis, and eventually a coma. Most people in the U.S. eat a potato every single day. Chips, fries, mashed. If you aren't on a strict keto diet, you are at risk. If you see a green tinge, don't just cut it off. Throw the whole thing away. Your life is worth more than a 20-cent spud. 2. The nutmeg psychosis. More than just a spice. This next one is going to shock you. It's sitting in your cabinet right now, perhaps next to the cinnamon. Nutmeg. In small doses, it's the smell of Christmas and comfort. But in your body, it behaves like a dangerous drug. Nutmeg contains an oil called myristicin. This compound is a psychoactive powerhouse that can trigger what doctors call nutmeg psychosis. It mimics the effects of heavy hallucinogens, but with a much more violent physical toll on the heart and brain. For an older heart, the stress of nutmeg poisoning is catastrophic. As little as 2 teaspoons can send your system into a tailspin of convulsions, heart palpitations, and severe dizziness. There have been tragic cases of children and seniors losing consciousness or suffering seizures after consuming whole nutmegs. It's a fine line between a delicious garnish and a trip to the emergency room. If you're baking, measure carefully. Never, ever consume this spice by the spoonful. It is a potent chemical, not just a flavoring. 3. The cyanide trap. Bitter almonds and raw cashews. We are told nuts are the ultimate health snack, right? They're heart-healthy and full of fats. But there is a silent killer hiding in the almond family. You need to know the difference between sweet almonds and bitter almonds. Most of what we buy is the sweet variety. But if you ever bite into a nut that tastes intensely bitter, spit it out immediately. Bitter almonds contain high levels of cyanide. Just 50 of these can be fatal for an adult, and for a grandchild, As few as 5 can be a death sentence. And then there are cashews. You might see raw cashews at the health food store, but truly raw cashews are coated in urushiol, the same toxic chemical found in poison ivy. Ingesting it can be fatal. The raw cashews you buy are actually steamed to remove this poison. Cyanide works by literally suffocating your cells. It stops them from using oxygen. If you're worried, keep an over-the-counter B12 supplement like hydroxycobalamin nearby. It's a natural antidote. But the best defense is knowing exactly what you're putting in your mouth. 4. The red bean hazard. This is perhaps the most urgent warning for those who love a good home-cooked meal. Red kidney beans. Many of us love using a slow cooker for convenience, but here is the terrifying truth. If you don't boil red kidney beans vigorously, you are actually making them more toxic. They contain a compound called PHA, phytohemagglutinin. If you slow cook them at low heat without boiling them first, you can increase the toxicity 5-fold. This toxin causes your red and white blood cells to clump together. It's like turning your blood into sludge. Within hours of eating undercooked beans, you'll experience agonizing abdominal pain and projectile vomiting. While we haven't seen a massive wave of human deaths, the laboratory data is chilling. Rats fed even a tiny amount of this compound died within weeks. If you're going to eat beans, you must soak them for 5 hours and boil them for at least 30 minutes. Don't take shortcuts with your safety. 5. The brown rice myth. We've been told for decades that brown rice is the healthy alternative to white rice. But from an SEO and health expert perspective, that advice is dangerously outdated. Brown rice contains significantly more arsenic than white rice. Why? Because arsenic, a heavy metal and known carcinogen, collects in the outer hull of the grain, the very part that is stripped away to make white rice. This arsenic comes from decades of pesticide use on old cotton farms where rice is now grown. Arsenic doesn't just make you sick. It builds up in your system, leading to heart disease, bladder cancer, and skin lesions. Take a look at your fingernails. Do you see horizontal white lines? That could be a sign of arsenic buildup. To protect yourself, you can look for rice grown in California or the Himalayas, which tends to have lower levels. You can also supplement with selenium or zinc to help your body detoxify. But the simplest solution is to stop assuming brown always means better. 6. The raw meat gamble. E. coli and your kidneys. There is a trend lately toward eating meat rare or even blue. But if you are buying standard grocery store ground beef, you are playing Russian roulette with E. coli. Specifically, a strain called virotoxigenic E. coli, VTEC. In a younger person, this might just be a bad weekend. For us, it can lead to sepsis, a systemic infection where your body begins to attack its own organs. It leads to kidney failure, coma, and death. The problem is that ground beef is a mixture of many different cows, and the bloody juices are a breeding ground for bacteria that originated in the cow's intestines. If you want a rare steak, buy a high-quality, single-source cut from a reputable butcher. But when it comes to hamburger meat, you must cook it through. The pink isn't worth a week in the ICU. We have to be smarter than the trends. We have to prioritize the internal organs over a culinary preference. 7. The cherry pit poison. A single seed. Most people think the danger of a cherry pit is just a broken tooth or a choking hazard. It's much worse. Inside that hard stone is prussic acid, better known as cyanide. While an accidental swallow of one pit usually passes through you safely, if that pit is cracked or crushed, the poison is released instantly. Some varieties, like the Morello cherry, have such high concentrations that a single crushed pit could exceed the toxic limit for a smaller person. Think about how many times we've seen people use whole cherries in blenders for smoothies, or pits getting crushed in a food processor. It's a recipe for disaster. Symptoms of hydrogen cyanide exposure include a pounding headache, confusion, and anxiety, followed quickly by respiratory failure. When you're enjoying the fruits of the season, be meticulous. Don't let a simple snack become a medical emergency. Remove the pits, protect your health, and never assume the natural parts of fruit are safe to eat.